We've been licensed for many customers in China for H200. We have received purchase orders from many customers, and we're in the process of restarting our manufacturing.
CEO Jensen Huang says the company has secured licenses for many customers and is restarting manufacturing for a market once blocked by US export restrictions.
Notice the phrase, once blocked. That single word is doing a lot of financial work, because it means the restriction that Wall Street built into every model for the last year is no longer the current state of play. 3 weeks ago, this deal didn't exist. Nvidia had already told investors to build zero into every forecast, every model, every price target on Wall Street. Then, in the span of 3 weeks, licenses got approved, purchase orders came in, and Nvidia restarted manufacturing on a chip line most analysts had already written off.
The situation for Nvidia has changed in China, literally in the last 3 weeks.
That's Bloomberg's own tech co-anchor confirming the exact timeline. For over a year, if you owned Nvidia stock, you were told to model China at zero. Jensen Huang said it himself back in May. He told investors to expect nothing from Chinese sales. Every price target, every earnings model, every analyst spreadsheet on Wall Street built Nvidia's growth story without a single dollar coming from one of the largest artificial intelligence markets on the planet. That's not a small caveat buried in a footnote. That's the second largest technology market in the world, sitting at exactly zero on every model that's supposed to tell you what this stock is worth. That's the baseline you need in your head for what just happened, because Nvidia isn't just talking about China again, it's manufacturing for China again. At Nvidia's own developer conference in San Jose, Jensen Huang confirmed it directly, on camera, to Bloomberg. Licenses are approved, purchase orders are in hand, manufacturing has restarted. This isn't a hope. It's not a rumour pulled from an unnamed source, it's the chief executive of the company saying the words out loud in public this month.
It seems like now there are multiple licenses for customers in China, and Nvidia is taking steps to meet that demand.
Multiple licenses, not a single approval slipped through as an exception, an actual pathway, with more than one customer already on the other side of it. Before we get to why Washington allowed this, it helps to understand how Nvidia itself has been thinking about risk in this market all along.
Well, there's a lot of technology risk, and there's a lot of, product design risk. There's a lot of those kind of things, but those kind of things are things we're good at.
Jensen Huang is drawing a line here that matters for how you read everything that follows. Engineering risk, building the chip, hitting performance targets. That's a problem Nvidia solves for a living. It's not the thing that's kept China revenue at zero.
The things that are hard for us, that are new for us, are geopolitical risk. Yeah. And it's out of our control.
A political decision made in Washington, entirely outside Nvidia's control, which is exactly why this month's news matters so much. The constraint that's been holding this revenue at zero just moved, and it moved because of a decision Nvidia itself had no power to make happen on its own timeline. To understand why this restart is even possible right now, you need the piece of the timeline that got skipped over by most coverage. Back in December, President Trump said the US government would approve China sales of the H200 in exchange for the government taking a 25% cut of that revenue. That structure is unusual. It's not a standard export tax, and it's not a typical licensing fee. It's the government inserting itself directly into the commercial terms of a chip sale, treating access to the Chinese market as something Nvidia effectively has to share a piece of with Washington in order to get the green light. Licenses tied to that arrangement started getting issued earlier this year, months before this most recent testimony. What changed in the last 3 weeks isn't the policy, it's execution. Purchase orders converting into real manufacturing activity for the first time since that framework was announced, and here's why the specific chip matters financially before you even get to the politics behind it. The chip in question is the H200. That's a Hopper generation chip, the generation before Nvidia's current Blackwell architecture, which is itself being followed next year by a newer architecture called Vera Rubin. In plain terms, the H200 isn't Nvidia's newest, most expensive hardware. It's the previous flagship, which means the tooling exists, the manufacturing lines exist, the yields are already mature, and the cost of producing each chip is already close to its lowest point in that product's life cycle. Restarting production on an older chip is cheap and fast, compared to ramping a brand new architecture, where early yields are lower and margins are thinner until the manufacturing process matures. Nvidia isn't scrambling to build something new for this market, it's turning a key on a factory that was mostly idle for this specific customer base, at a moment where the cost of doing so is about as low as it will ever be. And because the government is taking a cut off the top, the net revenue Nvidia books from each unit is lower than a typical sale, which is one reason this restart looks meaningful in headlines, but modest in actual dollar terms so far. That's the financial setup. Now here's the part that turns this from Nvidia got a nice surprise into something investors need to actually price in.
There was an analyst just this week who said that he's anticipating China will get Nvidia's Blackwell chips by as early as next year.
Nvidia's current top-of-the-line architecture potentially reaching China as soon as next year. If that happens, the H200 restart isn't the ceiling, it's the floor. It's the test case that proves the licensing pathway actually works before the more valuable, higher-margin chips follow it through the same door.
China's well ahead of us on energy. We are way ahead on chips.
That single line explains why chips are the piece of this race Washington is most protective of. Energy is China's advantage. Chips are America's. Every restriction, every license, every case-by-case review is Washington trying to defend the one layer of this race where the United States is actually winning. And this isn't just Jensen Huang's word alone anymore. This week, a senior United States trade official testified in front of Congress and confirmed the shipments are real. Under Secretary of Commerce, Jeffrey Kessler told lawmakers that licenses for H200 chips have been issued, that shipments have started moving, and that the government is reviewing each customer on a case-by-case basis, checking for compliance, denying some applications, approving others. He was specific about the scale too, calling it a small quantity, so far relative to what's possible. That matters, because it tells you this isn't a flood, it's a controlled valve that's just been turned open a few degrees, with room to open further. That case-by-case structure also tells you something important about how to model this revenue going forward. It isn't steady. Every customer gets screened individually, some get denied outright, and the pace of approvals depends on decisions made in Washington rather than Nvidia's own sales pipeline. That means China revenue under this framework is going to show up in lumps tied to license approvals, not as a smooth, predictable line item the way domestic data center revenue does. Investors modelling this for the first time should expect volatility quarter to quarter, not a clean ramp. That's a federal official, under oath, corroborating exactly what Nvidia's own CEO said on stage in San Jose. Two completely separate sources, one government, one corporate, telling investors the same thing in the same week. Quick gut check before we go further. Does a government taking a 25% cut on every chip sound like a fair deal to you, or a tax in disguise? Drop your take in the comments. I read everyone. But here's the part almost nobody in the financial media caught. Remember that $1 trillion number?
It does not take into account any revenues or revenue opportunities from CPU or even Grok, although Jensen Huang did say that if you factored Grok into it, there could be up to 25% upside on that $1 trillion figure.
$1 trillion in sales opportunity from 2025 through 2027. Jensen Huang built that figure entirely out of Blackwell and Rubin-based systems, Nvidia's current and next generation AI hardware lines. He said, on the record, that number doesn't include central processing unit revenue, it doesn't include Grok, Nvidia's robotics and physical AI platform, and it does not include China. Sit with that for a second. Nvidia's headline $1 trillion growth figure was constructed assuming the exact market we've just spent this entire video talking about contributes nothing. Zero was never just an analyst assumption sitting somewhere on a spreadsheet at a hedge fund. It was baked into Nvidia's own official framing of its own future, presented on stage by the person running the company, which means every dollar of H200 revenue that starts flowing out of China right now isn't replacing a number that was already there. It's stacking on top of a base case, built on the assumption this market didn't exist at all. That's not a rounding error. That's an entire revenue stream that Wall Street has had zero instructions to model, sitting on top of a $1 trillion figure that already didn't need it to hit the number. So go back to that third question I asked you at the start of this video. What did Jensen slip into this announcement that almost nobody caught? That's it. He didn't announce new China revenue as an addition to guidance. He confirmed that a market everyone had already priced at zero just turned back on, underneath a forecast that was never counting on it in the first place. You know, if China contributes anything above zero from here, that's pure upside, sitting on top of an already aggressive number, not a patch filling a hole in one. Now here's why the mechanism behind this actually matters, because the why changes how sustainable this is going forward. Washington's approach to this isn't a blanket green light, it's a deliberately narrow one. Kessler was explicit that every customer gets reviewed individually, national security checks, inspection requirements to confirm the chips are being used the way the paperwork says, and yes, denials when a company doesn't meet the bar. This is the version of the strategy Jensen Huang has been describing publicly for months. Keep the most advanced chips restricted from the customers who pose the clearest risk, but let American technology become the standard that the rest of the world's developers build on. He's compared it to an app store or an operating system. You don't want every app running on somebody else's platform. You want the world building on yours, even the developers sitting inside countries you're otherwise competing with on almost everything else.
No government, surely Chinese government, is going to be building their defense on Western technology. Nor does the Pentagon use Chinese chips to build our national security.
That's Jensen Huang addressing the national security objection directly. The most advanced chips were never headed to China's military. No government builds its defense infrastructure on a foreign rival's technology in either direction, which is exactly why this restart is happening with the H200, an older chip, under case-by-case screening, rather than with anything close to the cutting edge.
If the American tech stack is 80% of the world, then we are doing a good job winning the AI race. If the United States is 20% of the world, then we've lost the AI race.
That's the framework David Sachs laid out, and Jensen Huang has effectively adopted it as Nvidia's North Star. Roughly half the world's artificial intelligence researchers are based in China. It's close to a third of the global technology market, with something like 1 billion users behind it. Walling that off completely doesn't just cost Nvidia near-term revenue, it risks handing an entire generation of developers to a rival tech stack permanently at a moment when the standard is still being decided. And Nvidia isn't the only supplier standing in that room. China has its own chip makers, Huawei chief among them, building alternatives that are advancing fast, even if they're still considered behind Nvidia's hardware for the most demanding AI training workloads. Every year American chips stay locked out is another year those domestic alternatives get to close that gap without any competition at all. That's also why the timing lines up with what Nvidia has said about its supply chain more broadly. In that same Bloomberg conversation, Jensen Huang addressed Taiwan directly. Nvidia is fully committed there, and the heavy concentration in that supply chain isn't changing anytime soon. He also spoke about the company's employees in Israel amid tension in the Middle East. None of that is unrelated noise. It's the same underlying picture. Nvidia is managing geopolitical exposure on every front simultaneously, and the China licensing pathway reopening is one more piece of that puzzle falling into a specific deliberate place, not an accident of trade policy or a one-off exception someone forgot to close.
We are essentially isolating American technology into America and forfeiting and conceding the rest of the world to everybody else.
That's the downside case Jensen Huang has been warning about if this pathway had stayed shut, and it's exactly the outcome this month's licensing news avoids, at least for now. For a stock that's already priced for extraordinary growth, the question was never simply whether Nvidia could keep selling into the United States. It's whether the rest of the world builds on Nvidia's platform or someone else's, while that decision is still being made in real time. This week gave investors the clearest evidence yet that the answer, at least in China, just tilted back in Nvidia's favour, on top of a forecast that never needed it to begin with. And with the Blackwell conversation already sitting on the table for next year, this H200 restart may end up being remembered as the small, quiet first step, not the whole story. So here's the real question. Do you think Blackwell actually makes it into China next year? Or does Washington slam that door shut the moment it looks too close? Put your prediction in the comments.